بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and welcome back to another episode of how to be the best da'iyah ever, inshallah. The characteristics of a da'i, and the characteristics of this one today is hikmah, wisdom. And indeed, you need hikmah in order for you to stay alive in this one. And there's a lot to learn, but we're going to try to do our best to keep it into one episode, inshallah, to give you the tools to be able to be the best da'iyah with the best hikmah. And by the way, there's something you learn from the ulama. You will need to put your knees into the knees of the scholars, your teachers, especially talqini. You cannot read about this. You will get this indeed with the experience, especially from our elders, especially from our scholars, our mashayikh. I learned this from my own, wallahi, from my own mashayikh and my own teachers. I'm still learning. By all means, we're still learning this till the day we die. So we're going to go about the definition of hikmah in itself, the wisdom, and what the Quran says about it, and how also Prophet Muhammad used it, and also some of the righteous. And we'll talk about some of the utterance and the proverbs of some of even non-Muslims, as long as they had the label hikmah of those who are actually called wise men in the world. So first, let us start with the definition. We're going to talk about istilahan, shar'an. So we're going to talk about the definition linguistically and the definition according to the Islamic jurisprudence, inshallah. So the first thing, you know, the hikmah comes from hakama. You know what hakama is? Is actually what the reins of the horse, where it actually goes into their mouth. The reason for that, it controls the horse so it doesn't go all over the place. It doesn't do more damage than good. So that's the reason where it's mushtaqqa. It is derived from that hakamatu. But it comes from hikmah, which means it keeps you in line. So that is also one of the reasons that we say this person has hikmah. He doesn't leave out of line. He controls his emotions and anger and everything else. He doesn't go to the character of those who are beneath you and so on. He stays up even though you're like a river, a wild ocean. You have the rage of a bull, and inside you're using all your motors are going mile a minute, and everything is there. But on top, you're a solid rock. You the man. Speaking of that, let's go back to this guy. All right. So we talk about the istilah, meaning the language itself, so we understand where it comes from. Now let's find out certain utterance and what it actually means. So istilahan, Abu Ismail al-Harawi said actually, الحكمة اسم لإحكام وضع الشيء في موضعه. Meaning, so it's a noun, it's an attribute, an adjective for putting things in its place. Bottom line, hikmah is putting things in its place. There's more, obviously, and I will give you the definition later. Some of the scholars and the famous people around in history. So if you put things in the right place at the right time, and meaning with his Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullah alayh, he gives a little more specific. So he said accordingly, الحكمة فعل ما ينبغي على الوجه الذي ينبغي في الوقت الذي ينبغي. So الحكمة فعل ما ينبغي, doing the right thing, what is befitting, in a manner it's which befitting, and at the time that is befitting. So everything has to fit perfectly, the time, the place, the manner, and the etiquettes, and that's, you have hikmah, and that's the bigger picture. A little more now when we go to An-Nawawi rahmatullahi alayh, when he actually says al-hikmah, wisdom, is عبارة عن العلم المتصف بالأحكام, to acquire knowledge that is known, that is actually derived from rules and regulations. And it says المشتمل على المعرفة بالله تبارك وتعالى, is comprehensive with the knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa jalla fi ula, توحيد الربوبية, توحيد الألوهية, الأسماء والصفات, and everything that you know, the monotheism of the Godhood, the monotheism of the Lordship, the monotheism of the glorified attributes, and all of that. And then he says المصحوب بنفاذ البصيرة, but it is accompanied with a sharp, obtuse vision, insight. And he says وتهذيب النفس. Now you're also controlling your own whims and desires. You don't just haphazardly run after your own, whatever it is, lusts, whims, and desires. You're controlling it. Tahdib, controlled. وَتَحْقِيقِ الْحَقِّ. You're beneficent. This very clear that truth is apparent. وَالْعَمَلُ بِهِ. Not only that, act and walk the talk, as we talked about the walk the talk a few times in episodes. وَالصَّدُّ عَنِ اتِّبَاعِ الْهَوَى وَالْبَاطِلِ. Not only that, you're actually enjoining good and forbidding evil and stopping people who are leading astray, yourself and others, from those who are actually being on a crooked path, and that was falsehood. Here's وَالْحَكِيمُ مَنْ لَهُ ذَلِكَ. The person that's called Hakim, not by the Hakim that you know downtown. No, the Hakim, the one that has all these feet, he is مَنْ لَهُ ذَلِكَ. The one that has all these attributes, we can call him Hakim. So you'll understand now that acquiring Hikmah is not actually a walk in the park. As a matter of fact, you'll see some of the famous people says it's the top, it's the head honcho, man. Even above and beyond the philosopher. Speaking of philosophers, we have some utterance of those lovely people. So let's go to some of them. Let's go back to some of what they say. What is the hikmah? Accordingly, again, here عصارة التجارب في الحياة وإقرار الحوادث والنوازل والهم بالتفكير والأمور حكمة. He says it's a summary, the juice, the beef and potatoes, man. It's the bottom line. This is the end of the road. The buck stops here. Hikmah is when you learned everything in life about your experience, the dealing with the people, the good, the bad, and ugly, about your own experience, your act, your job, your love, your whatever it is, in every aspect of life, and it puts it together. Nawaza, something that is old and something that is new, muhdath, and something that is calamities. You learn about everything else. The summary of that, and it says تدبر الأمور الحكمة. It comes in to help you to manage the affairs of any aspect of your life with the infinite knowledge. And with natija, qana'a rasikha, and then you have content and solid foundation where you make the decision. والحكم النظر في المال واستخلاص العاقبة بعد استصراف المستقبل. You not only look in the past, you're looking at the present, and again looking at future, hindsight. So if you want to have hikmah, akhi and ukhti, what do you have to do? So bottom line, if you want to be a hakim, the one that has hikmah and wise man, you gotta be a magician, politician, you name it. You gotta be different hats, different things. Of course, as long as halal. Now you understand that Prophet Muhammad was the best. As a matter of fact, he dealt with people differently according to their own understanding the language. So you have to understand that the background. Thinks of what's going to happen according to the consequences of his own actions and deeds. Looks at the bigger picture. Weighs things before they're done. He takes his time and. It's a long list of things. So we understand what this is all about. So you have to look in the past, learn from it, what's the best in the present, and what the consequence about it in the future, inshallah. So among the people that actually says what is the hikmah, it says Salman al-Farisi, he says 3 types. أفزعتني. I'm in shock. I'm astonished by. He said these things. وأضحكتني. Not only that, and it made me laugh. It's laughable. This is a mockery. It says what? It says مؤمل الدنيا والموت يطلبه. Those who actually put long hope, they are at ease with this life, and that's their only investment. It's their goal, and that's the means to a goal. And he says وَالْمَوْتُ يَطْلُبُهُ. But death is calling them. He says number 2, he says وَغَافٍ وَلَيْسَ يُغْفَلُ عَنْهُ. Heedless, but he's not. People are not heedless about. Indeed, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not forgotten about him or her. He says وَضَاحِكٌ مِلْءُ فِيهِ وَلَا يَدْرِي أَسَاخِطٌ رَبِّهِ. Subhanallah. Those one who laugh out loud. Hey, give me a high five, man. Pass it around. No, don't pass it around. Dude, I'm just kidding. Whatever it is that you think, sex, drugs, rock and roll, it's the life. Let's paint the town red. The roof is down. Let's, the beamer and things around you and the big wings there, all that stuff. You know what I mean. Now what that is, he says, that is, hello, sir. Because you don't know what it is, man. He says you don't even know if Allah loves you or dislikes you. In that matter, they don't have the hikmah. And indeed, some others say that one that I actually like is Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. Prophet Muhammad says, ضمني يا بختك يا ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما. He says, Prophet Muhammad grabbed me, hugged me, and he said, Allahumma allimhu al-hikmah. Ya salam. It's a beautiful dua. That is amazing. That's like the top notch of knowledge. Because really knowledge, what it is, it's black and white, man. If you have the knowledge but you don't implement it, what is that? There's no wisdom in that. So we talked about the knowledge before, but at least make sure that at least walk in the footsteps of Abbas radiallahu anhuma. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Allah for. Allahumma allimna al-hikmah. Oh, ameen. Inshallah. Oh, Allah, grant us wisdom. Ameen, inshallah. And among others that I actually liked was, I think, I can't remember his name in English. So we'll just say he's a wise man. How's that? Cool? He said, Al-Hikma رأس العلوم والأدب والفن. It is the head of everything. Others, he says, Aflatun. The Al-Fada'il الأربعة الحكمة والعدالة والشجاعة والاعتدال. He says you have to have bravery, wisdom, moderation, and everything else that you have in a knowledge. And you know what? Hegel says, الحكمة على المرتبة التي يتوصل الإنسان أن تكمل المعرفة. This is the highest level when you get to know the reaching of knowledge. And Hegel says, Socrates, I think it's called, whatever. Socrates, thank you, my man. Let's hear it from my man. Lovely, man. Okay, Socrates, that guy, remember that guy? That's him. He said, you know why? When they asked him, why were you picked to be the wisest man? He says, because I'm the only man that said, I don't know. So don't be afraid to say, I don't know. It is wisdom to actually say that. Let me give you a live example. One man came in. This is actually, I don't know if it's a true story or not, but I was told the story and I actually liked it. An imam, he saw lots of bid'ah, right? So that man was talking. He was a seeker of knowledge, but he's not an imam yet. So he saw an imam talking about all these bid'ahs, all this stuff. So he stood up and says, blah, 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 blah. His father of that seeker of knowledge says, son, you went out, but you got the knowledge, but you don't have hikmah. Let me teach you something. Let me learn you something, man. Let's pass this baby around. Not the other baby around I was talking about. This baby around. He says, in the morning, watch out. Says, this imam is amazing. I saw Prophet Muhammad in a dream. He says this man is a blessed man. Every hair in his beard is a blessed hair. Whoever gets it, he will have a blessed life. So what did people do? They jumped on that man and took the beard out, dude, one piece at a time. Ouch, that may hurt. He says that's how to get these people back in line. Don't do that. I'm just putting a disclaimer. Have you met my lawyer? I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us wisdom. I'll give you one more and we'll finish here. One man actually didn't say anything about the word because he said, shaitan. So I said, one man said, I'm going to challenge this imam. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to tell him to say I. So the man stood up and says, Imam? Says, yes. What is that word that the shaitan said? He says, come tomorrow and we'll let you know. So tomorrow comes. The imam says, where is that person that asked about the word that shaitan says? He says, He says, that's the word that shaitan says. Keep smiling. I'll see you in the next episode. May Allah give us wisdom. Ameen wa akhir da'wan. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallam ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'in. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.